Hello there, my name is Ashley and today we'll be talking about how I built my Tighnari. He is one of my favorite characters. I love him. I remember my first Tighnari I actually lost Kazuha's 50-50 to him. And my brain didn't even register that I had lost. So happy to have him. Anyway, let's start. He has 16,346 HP, 1,370 attack, 689 defense. My brain just stopped there. 428 EM, 57 over 132 crit damage, 135 ER, and 75 Dendro damage bonus. Now, weapon-wise, I do have the Battle Pass weapon. 95% sure this is the Battle Pass weapon. Well, you forget which one. But I do have the Battle Pass weapon, and that's what I have on him because I tend to have this on other characters. This has been Tighnari's bow for a while. It also does stuff with charge attacks. And guess who runs off his charge attack? Oh, I love him. I forgot Venti. I guess Venti's on the Skyward Harp right now. Anyway. Weapon-wise, I wish I had his signature. I want the Hunter's Path for him. Bet his best in slot. Honestly, when the Sumeru Chronicle banner comes up, I'm going for Alhaitham first, but most likely, unless they release Durin at the same time, if I can get Durin and Alhaitham and I still have pulls, I'm going for the Hunter's Path. I want it. Skyward Harp. It's a good fit for him. You get crit rate, it increases crit damage by 20%. His have a 60% chance to inflict a small physical AoE. Honestly, don't know why I don't have him on it. I think it's just because I've been shifting this around. I also got the Battle Pass one before I had this one, I think. Also, again, this one does stuff with charge attacks. Anyway, Cloudforge is another pretty good option for him. Honestly, Tighnari's are pretty versatile in which stats you can give him. You can give him attack percent for more damage. You can give him EM for more damage. You can give him ER. His burst does a good bit of damage if you really want. That's the one I recommend the least. You can do crit rate or crit damage because he's a DPS. He's pretty versatile in which stats you can put on him. Some characters I'm like, I really only like this one stat. Him, variety. But after elemental energy is decreased, so for him he would use his ult. This is a big Sethos bow, honestly. The equipment even character's elemental mastery increased by 80. So let's say you could use his ult, you could use his you could use his E, you could use his ult, and you could do his charge shots. You can do setup and stuff for this. So it's a pretty good option. You also have the Sicken of Blazing Sun, which again, I'm pretty sure this is the Battle Pass one. It gives him crit rate. They both give him crit rate. He may end up on the Skyward Harp. I'm gonna leave him on this for now. Anyway. And then after charge attack takes an opponent, a Sunfire Arrow would descend upon the opponent, dealing 60% attack as damage, and applying the Heat Seer effect to the opponent damage by the arrow for 10 seconds. Opponent affected by Heat Seer take 28 more charge attack damage from the wielder. So it's honestly really good for him. It triggers via charge attack and increased charge attack damage. Bro's using his charge attack all the time. I did have him on the strings for the longest time though, before I got better bows. I really like it. It's got elemental mastery. It increases elemental skill, elemental burst damage. His skill, not as much. He doesn't use that. He uses his charge, but his burst is really nice. It would be better if it did increase his charge, but it's what it is. Now, the Ibis Piercer, which I believe this was an event weapon from a bit ago. It has attack percent as its main stat, and increases character's elemental mastery by 80. 6 seconds after a charge attack hits an opponent with 2 stacks, so it just increases his he has an attack percent and increases his EM when he does charge attack, which is really nice. Now, he does have a few 3-star options, the Messenger being one of them. It gives crit damage, charge attack if a charge attack hits a weak point, it deals an additional 200 attack damage as crit damage, which is really nice. You do have to hit a weak point, which I was never good at, so not something I'm big on. You also got the Slingshot, which is substat is crit rate. Normal and charge attack hits an opponent with 0.3 seconds of being fired. Increase damage by 60%. So you want to do this when you're standing right next to them. If you run him on this, you want to stand right next to them. Because if not, it will decrease the damage done. And then, what was it? Sharpshooter's Oath. It just gives crit damage and increases damage against weak points. I am not too big on damage against weak points because I personally suck at aiming. I'm really bad at it. But I have him on the Second of the Blazing Sun. I think I'm going to keep him on it. It's really good for him, and he's going to run well on it. Anyway, artifact-wise. Now, for the main stats, attack percent or EM for his hands, general damage bonus for his goblet, and then crit rate or crit damage for his crown. Now, artifact-wise, I have him on Wanderer's Troop. You can have him on Deepwood, Gilded, and then Shiwara's Resistance is actually another one I found that could work for him. Because it increases your attack, and then casting an elemental skill, the character has 15 or more energy, they lose 15 energy, so he just loses a little bit of energy. And then increases normal charge plunging attack damage by 50% for 10 seconds. So after using his skill, which is when he's going to get his charges, he'll lose a little bit of energy, which isn't the end of the world. I think Deepwood is really nice for him. Able to skill a burst hits upon moment. Again, he does his charge, so the burst is the big one here. The target's gender resistance will be decreased by 30% for 8 seconds. This effect can be triggered even if the character's on the field. One thing I will say is when I was watching some build guides for Tighnari, is that I saw that you could just put Deepwood on a teammate of his, and then he'll get the gender resistance shred without having to allow them to have something like the Wanderer's Troop, which gives them elemental mastery and then increased charge attack by 35%, which is really nice. And then Guild of Dreams increases elemental mastery, and then I'm not going to read it all, but basically it gives him more attack or EM depending on the elements of his teammates. I really like him on Wanderer's Troop, and I don't think my current team actually has him on anyone with Deepwood, but that's fine. You could throw someone with Deepwood on it. You don't have to. It doesn't really matter. The 30% gender resistance is really nice. Anyway, we are going to talk about the cons next. I actually have C2 Tighnari, and I really hope I can see 6 one someday. But anyway, his C1 increases his charge attack crit rate by 15%. His C2 increases general damage bonus by 20%. If enemies are in his E's field, his C3 increases his ult's level by 3. His C4 actually buffs his party members' EM. When the fashion years travel, he burns. I believe it is when the arrows. Man, my brain is just stopping. I'm not going to bother with it. It increases his party members' EM. His C5 increases his E, and his C6 decreases the amount of time it takes for him to charge his bow, and adds. Now, if you've seen his charge attack go through when you've double charged it, you know that there are arrows that shoot off. There's one more of those arrows that does 150% of his attack as damage, which is really nice. I really want his C6. Anyway, on to the talents. Now, talent-wise, I would start with his base, and I'd go to his ult, and I'd end with his E. His base, because his charge attack is what does all the damage. His ult, for good damage. And his E, because his E does damage upon hit, but really his main use is shortening his charge. So, and that's probably what they say up here. Yes, that is exactly what they say up there. Anyway, team-wise, I currently run him with Emily, because I like them as a little ship. This is why this is his main team. Purely for that reason. I think it's cute. You can think what you want. Anyway, so this is the main team I run him with. It's Tighnari, Emily, Shingling, and Venti. He's run on a burning team. Now, technically, if you really wanted to run him good, you'd want him with, where's Fischl? You'd want him with, Fischl, and let me look at the Electro character. If I had the Shogun, I recommend the Shogun. If you have the Shogun, put him on with the Shogun. Um, Honestly, like Fischl, you could put like Cookie on with him for healing plus more Electro, or you could put Lisa on and you could throw her ult down for an Electro field. You want some good Electro application with him. That was cute. Anyway, and then you could throw in like Bennett if you want a, for buffing, or you could put Venti to swirl plus group. You could also just have a second Dendro character on, like you throw Nahida with Deepwood, and then get that Dendro resistance, Dendro res shred. There's a lot of options you can do with him. You typically want to run him with an Electro unit, but you don't have to run him with an Electro unit. Like I said, I run him on a Burning team, and he does wonderfully. Um, Technically, I could put Kazuha out here, but I don't have a team with Venti, so I run him in this team. But anyway, let's get to the child fight. They should do really well. I expect them to absolutely destroy Ajax. Watch me fail miserably. I'm actually not going to bother with this ult right now. I think I was supposed to actually use her E first, but that's whatever. Now, I guess the big problem with this is that they don't actually have a sustainer. It's just you gotta kill him first. 2, 3, and Ajax. Oh, he was dead. I thought he was gonna have a sliver of HP left. Emily, and now we shoot. 1, 2, 3, and use his ult. Pull out Venti. Haha. Crushed. Knew it. Anyway, that is all for Tighnari. I wish I had the Shogun. I'm not even pulling for her right now because like I want Ito. And I don't need the Shogun for his team because this is his main team, which doesn't include Electro, but oh, I wish I had the Shogun for him. Anyway, though, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like. If you want to see more stuff like this, subscribe, and may you have a blessed rest of your day.